be speaking on trading in a Roth IRA, some benefits, some cons of doing so. And as always, this is not financial advice, simply just for educational purposes. Just my ideas that I want to share with you guys. I was talking to my friend about this the other day and figured for those who may not know about it, it can be a good introduction to it. So, for those who don't know, a Roth IRA is a type of retirement account. Essentially, any capital gains or any growth that's in the account is tax free. But, as always, there's always some caveats or some fine print that you have to understand about these accounts. So, with Roth IRAs, and I won't go too deep into it, just more like a brief overview. But essentially, with Roth IRAs, the money that you place into the accounts will be post-tax, meaning it can't be pre-tax dollars, similar to a traditional or 401k and different types of other retirement accounts like that, where you're taxed when you take the money out. But with Roths, you'll be putting post-tax dollars in it, and essentially anything you make in it is tax-free. However, like I mentioned earlier, there's some fine print to that. So I'm going to briefly go over some pros and cons. Some pros, like I mentioned earlier, any capital gains, whether it's interest, the dividends, or gains you made from trading in the account will be tax-free. However, with that being said, it would be tax-free, so the account has to be at least 5 years old. You have to hold the account for at least 5 years, and you must be the age of 59 and a half. So after you're 59 and a half and you've held the account for at least 5 years, any withdrawals out of the account are tax-free. Now, depending, whether you may prefer to trade in an individual account, like individual brokerage, or a taxable account, ultimately, instead of going down that path, what I'll say is ultimately, it really depends on what you're looking for. This conversation, just to go off on a small tangent, when I was talking to my friend the other day, essentially, usually when I trade, most of my funds come from, or my profits come from futures trading, which I don't trade in a Roth. I trade, using other means. So obviously that's taxable. However, while I still trade options here and there in my individual accounts, I've been mainly trading them in my Roth. Like I mentioned earlier, any gains that I do make on it won't be taxable until I withdraw it in the future when I reach the age of 59 and a half, and the account will be there. I figured in my sense, since I don't need the money, at least not right now, from my options trading in my individual account, or any income that I may generate from any dividend stocks or any other investments, I figured it's best just to trade in my Roth. I can grow that, and then in the future, at the end of everything, of course, I will have all of those gains tax-free. In a Roth, for those who don't know, there's different things that you can trade. You can trade, of course, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, options, and apparently futures that I did not know until earlier today. I believe it may depend on the broker that you use that may allow you to trade futures or not. Definitely reach out to your broker or whatever trading platform and company you use and see if they allow futures trading in a Roth IRA. So, of course, those being some perks or pros of trading in a Roth IRA, some of the cons are, and a little list that I've created here. There's a maximum contribution limit, meaning you can only contribute a specific amount in a year. Let's say, for the sake of the conversation, the contribution limit, if you are under, I believe, 50, and definitely confirm this on the IRS website. Please do your own due diligence. I believe the current limit is 7,000 under the age of 50. Over the age of 50, I believe the IRS increased it to 8,000 per year. So cons in the sense of, you can't put like 100K in there and start trading with that or whatever it is that you want to do, and then you start building that in your Roth. You're limited to a specific amount every year. Of course, there are other workarounds like Roth conversions, but I won't go into that in this video. You can do your own, research with that, like backdoor Roths and stuff like that. But anyway, max contribution limit, meaning, let's say, for the sake of the conversation, you can only put $7,000 if you're under 50, right? If you lose that $7,000, you can't simply put it back into the account like you would with an individual or taxable a brokerage account. So if, let's say, in my regular brokerage account, I put 7,000 or whatever it may be, if I lose that, I can just put in as much as I want. There is no limit to how much I can put into a regular individual taxable account. Compared to a Roth, like I mentioned, $7,000. So let's say you put 7,000 in there and you lose all of that, you have to wait until the next year to be able to contribute to the limit that the IRS has placed, depending on your age bracket. And some cons, like I mentioned, you can only withdraw. Let's say you're not at the age of 59 and a half and you haven't held the account for at least 5 years. Well, I don't think that would attribute to this, but specifically, if you haven't, if you're not the age of 59 and a half and you haven't held it for 5 years, you can only withdraw the amount that you contribute in that year. Meaning, let's say that I contributed 5,000, I can withdraw 5,000 that same year without penalty. But if you withdraw anything more than that, then you'll get a penalty on that. So be sure, like I mentioned earlier, just to do your due diligence and look at all the details in the fine print of having a Roth IRA. And then, like I mentioned, right under that, if you want to withdraw those funds, let's say you want to take out $20,000 that you've made or that the account has grown to, before you turn 59 and a half and you held the account for more than 5 years or less than 5 years, there'll be a penalty that you get dinged with. For details on the exact percentages, definitely go to the IRS website and Google's there, different resources. And then lastly, some cons for a Roth. There's a specific income restriction. I believe if you make between 144 to 166K a year or more, you don't qualify to have a Roth IRA. I believe instead you will have to open up a traditional IRA, which I don't believe has any income restrictions. But again, always feel free to look that up and confirm that. So that's pretty much it for today. I just wanted to share some pros and cons in trading in a Roth, and hope this was helpful. For me, just like my own personal thoughts, like I mentioned earlier, since most of my trading income comes from trading futures, while I still do trade options, I figured I'll just start trading options and having my long-term positions in my Roth account. That way it can grow tax-free. So when I reach the age of 59 and a half, I can just take all those gains tax-free, especially if I don't need the money now, which some individuals may need, or depending on everybody's situation. You may trade in a regular account to pull out like every week, 2 weeks, etc. But again, really depends what your journey is and what you're looking to do with your trading. But like I said, for me, it's more convenient for me right now just to trade in my Roth, options and all the other things, and just go about it that way. So with all that being said, I hope this was helpful. Any questions, feel free to put it in the chat or message me. for those who have me on any Discord groups or anywhere else that you know me on. Other than that, as always, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and enjoy the rest of your week.